Hello my friends, I want to start from this one. It looks like Russia lost 3 of the aircraft because of the single strike on Taganrog airfield yesterday. We're speaking about Ilyushin-76 transport airplane, also A-60 airplane, that's the surveillance one. Based on Ilyushin-76, Russia has A-50. They still operate 3 of those at least, but Ukraine was capable to shut down several of those, plus 2 of the units were flatlined during the spiderweb operation. So this A-60, it wasn't operational one, it was the experimental. A single unit was produced and it was flatlined just yesterday. There is also one more airplane, bomber Tupolev 95, that was parked at the same apron, and you can see probably over here there was the strike of the Ukrainian probably drone, and the Russian military channels familiar with the situation, they say that the shrapnel went all around, also hitting this aircraft. And it is understandable that this strategic bomber is no go any longer. It requires at least serious maintenance, or maybe it will be written off, because if shrapnel hits, penetrates force elements of the airplane construction, longerons, bulkheads, formers, which are very important for the structural integrity of the airplane, well, in this case the aircraft could be even written off, because Russia doesn't have capabilities to produce those airplanes or make a significant overhaul changing those force elements. Well, this bomber was taken here for the maintenance purposes. Here is the facility itself. It is the design bureau, and also they perform maintenance. Technical support for the Russian bombers. Here is one more image. You can clearly see that, 2 of the aircraft completely destroyed. And this one, partially we can see it. Here it was the hit, and I believe that it was damaged because it's very close to the place where the drone hit the apron. But not just the apron was hit, the airport facility sustained damages in one of the main important buildings. That's the final production for the airplane spare parts. Well, it looks like the building is no more. The fire continued there for entire night and the next morning. And this is the strike once again, A-60 airplane based on Ilyushin-76 model. Some of the Russian channels affiliated with the Russian Air Force say that, oh, this airplane is nothing burger, it was not in use and it was abandoned. They even thanked Ukraine for scrapping it down and wasting drones, but why there is the fuel in this case in those fuel tanks in the wings? Why it was fully loaded with the fuel? Because it was burning like some sort of the oil storage there also for extensive period of time. Who would refuel the airplane which is useless? Very strange as for me. And this is the airplane itself, how it looked like. There is the radar on the nose part and also on top of the fuselage. The full name is Beriev A-60, and the factory that was hit in Taganrog is also called Beriev. The airplane had retractable main laser turret. It's interesting. Turbo generator, auxiliary power unit, steerable beam director turret for targeting LiDAR. As Wikipedia says, it was also the airborne laser laboratory aircraft. Right guys, sorry, I thought it's the new generation of AVAX, but it's the flying laboratory for creation of airborne laser and also facilitate research of distribution of beams in top layers of an atmosphere. Well, I'm not sure whether Russia might implement something from this research really if they needed this airplane, but after all they lost one transport, Ilyushin-76, also bomber was damaged. Here they say even in 2016 the aircraft had been retired and was placed on the ramp in Taganrog airport. So maybe it was really retired, but they kept it with fuel. It's hard to say at this stage. But still it was not fully retired, because in 2020 Beriev were exploring options of an upgraded A-60, probably based on the same airplane. But now we have this update that it was kaputted in Taganrog airport. So the strike was after all successful. Russia lost some of the facilities for producing airplanes and for maintenance. Russia lost several of the aircraft. Maybe that one was not in use and was definitely retired, but one more flatlined, and Tupolev 95 probably damaged. And here's the image before and after. Yeah, nice picture. And according to data, there is one more strike that happened on this depot. So this is the final assembly workshop. Oh, there's the building, one more, the big one. My friends, in today's video, I'm gonna review the information coming from Ukraine, frontline update, and the situation with so-called peace deal, because this topic is still out there, and the news about it are getting crazier because Witkoff is going to Moscow once again. This is... Anyways, let's go to the front lines because it's important. By the way, guys, don't forget to press your like to this video and subscribe for the channel. You help me a lot because while you're watching, YouTube counts your subscriptions, your likes, and it propels the video in YouTube algorithms, which is very important for me as for creator because I may reach the wider audience. Also, the time of the view matters. So if you watch till the end of the video, it will also help me a lot. And now let's go to Pokrovsk direction and Mirnograd. There we have good news and the bad news. As usual nowadays. Well, the good news that Ukraine was capable to imprison the group of the Russian soldiers in Mirnograd. We have the geolocation, confirmation. Our guys from the 7th Corps Rapid Response Forces managed to do it. Yeah, definitely the group of the Russian soldiers, they decided to surrender here. The video is not good quality, but you can see some of the Russian soldiers moving out from the rubbled buildings to Ukrainian positions without weapons, so Ukraine for sure imprisoned them. Here the image where they put even the hands up, so it's the good catch for Ukrainian soldiers. Before, Russians managed to imprison some of the Ukrainian soldiers in Mirnograd, but now Ukraine does the same stuff. Ukraine is not canceling them. They are sent to Ukrainian prison and that's it. Later on will be exchanged for Ukrainian soldiers. That's the only way for Russian soldiers to save their lives actually. And here I want to tell about different direction, another part of the front lines where one of the Russian soldiers decided to finish the fight for Russian Federation and to surrender for Ukraine. And for that he managed to escape the Russian army. Here he has already been imprisoned by Ukraine. He's from Dagestan himself. He gave the short interview of how he was imprisoned, how he went to the Russian army. He was arrested in Russia actually for transporting the wheat, and later on he was taken for the Russian army, or maybe he signed the contract with the Russian army himself from the prison. Later on he received a one-way order. He understood that it's gonna be the end, so he tried to escape and his escape was successful. What is interesting that he alone went from the Russian positions behind Mala Tokmachka. Yes, so he was imprisoned on the way to Orikhiv. He was spotted by Ukrainian drone at the railway. He was waving, I surrender, and yeah, he was taken. So it shows that if there is the group of one soldier, well, group of two maximum, yes, 3, Russians may go behind Ukrainian positions with the help of the bad weather, poor visibility conditions, fog, they might do it. So he said that it was foggy morning, and I walked across the railway, no one spotted me until this point. Yeah, we have the geolocation. Crazy, but it happens. And also the situation in Mirnograd is kind of concerning because yes, Russians surrendered to Ukrainian soldiers, but they managed to get to the central part of Mirnograd. And it wasn't a single soldier, there were at least 5 of those. So the front line, it is not like that, it is not like this, it is fully boiling now, fluctuating here and there. There are some of the groups of Ukrainian soldiers, Russian soldiers, drones are flying. That's the total chaos. That's how modern day war uncovers itself on the front line. So all of those lines, they mainly do not matter and only drone where Russians are or Ukrainians are spotted. As for some of the good news, Ukraine continue infiltration attempts also towards the central part of Pokrovsk. Our forces were spotted there. It's hard to say when actually, maybe a couple of days ago, maybe 3, because at the same time Russians were spotted here, this crossroad. And let's go to the deep state, what they say about this update. So it was yesterday, it is today, so Russians moved a little over here with their main forces, and this bottleneck, it changes. So this doesn't really exist. All of this is the gray area, I would say. What we have from the bad news more that Ukraine lost one more vehicle. We'll see what is that. Yeah, geolocated confirmed that's the road which Ukraine uses for supplies. You may say that there are already many of the vehicles which were hit by Russians. Oh yeah, that's the old video. I already shared it on my channel. That's the MRAP that went down from the road and was hit by the Russian drones. No one was inside. So we'll not count it as the bad news for the last 24 hours. Well, as you understand, there are just for now minor changes in Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, and despite what Russians are saying, still there is no full physical encirclement. In Rodenske, the fight is ongoing. Well, I'm still waiting for the most recent update from the Mykovsk map, so we have the update actually from the deep state. Let's go to that one, step by step as they say. So in Siversk, Russia moved closer to the settlement. It was yesterday and it is today. Probably their infiltration groups already in the city. It's kind of fast. I mean, they advanced fast towards Siversk from the eastern side. The fight for Verkhnokamensk and Verkhnokamenka was for a long time, but after those are just the fields, and Russians managed to jump here. So they will occupy Siversk pretty much soon. After Siversk, there is the nature obstacle, the river, and also kind of the difficult terrain. The problem here, if we check out this map, that the Russians already passed the main defense line, yeah? Not by the main forces, but the gray area expanded. And if we'll not take into account the nature obstacles, the next defense line is pretty much far away. It could be the Russian advancement even towards Slavyansk. And we see that from Siversk to Slavyansk there are not many villages. How many there are? 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's the straight way. The only thing that might stop Russians here are some of the water obstacles, local obstacles, and difficult terrain. And also Ukrainian army, yeah. Yeah, I should have drawn it with a red color to show you. Well, yeah, definitely the situation here is not good. Not good. And let's zoom out from Siversk. So it was yesterday and it is today. Russians also advanced a little, moved towards Nova Veselivka, a very small village here, but they move. Now let's go to Zaporizhia direction, the important point for Hulai Pole. And there Russians also moved towards Zatishna village. Slight advancement, but still it happened. Alright guys, absolutely unhinged and crazy news are coming relative to the peace deal and to Witkoff personally. The White House administration is flushing itself again, this time more seriously, because the full script of the phone call was published between Ushakov, advisor of Putin, there is he on the background, and Witkoff, where they discussed of how to present Ukraine for Russia, how to make Russia win. Basically, it's like that. Witkoff advised Russia on how to pitch Ukraine plan to Trump. Yeah, I'm not subscribed for Bloomberg personally to get this information from original source. Well, the original source is for sure United States intelligence that gave everything of that to Bloomberg. I am 100% sure of it. I think also Ruzzia advised them to do it because they're just tired of Witkoff, who basically works for Russia. But anyways, we have some of the explanations. So Steve Witkoff called to Putin after the Gaza ceasefire. According to Bloomberg, Witkoff gave Putin's team the game plan. Call Trump before Zelensky's visit to the White House. Praise the Gaza deal. Show you are serious about peace. So Witkoff is advisor of Putin, telling him how to deal with Donald Trump. It's behind the curtain game. So Witkoff is a traitor because he works for interests of the other country. And remember that visit to the White House, that call really mattered. And Zelensky during that meeting was pushed by Donald Trump and by Witkoff personally to give up Donbass and to reduce the army. Basically what they presented recently with this plan, 28-point plan, yeah? It's the job done by Witkoff in cooperation with Russia. And now it is freaking evident because it was published right away, like 1 hour ago it was published. I'm filming this video. Also, publication confirms that the 28-point plan originates from Russia. They say that on 29th of October, there was the conversation between Witkoff, Dmitriev and Ushakov, where Dmitriev said that, okay, we're gonna prepare this paper, we'll make it from our position and I'll send it to you informally. We'll make it all informally and you'll make it as your own. Dmitriev noted that probably they will not accept our version fully, but as close as possible to maximum demands of Russia. Putin's advisor Ushakov at the same time was quite skeptical about the plan, but Dmitriev reassured him that everything will be done without any flaws. However, we see that this plan failed miserably, and it shows that the White House administration advisor, informal advisor of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's friend Witkoff, is basically a traitor of the United States of America for his own personal, some sort of the goals, for his greed, and it's very dangerous actually to call him a useful idiot. He is really an enemy for United States of America, for the free world, but the good friend for Russia. But here I want to say just a little thank you to Marco Rubio. Still, he's not our guy, let's say. He's working for Trump, for MAGA, and you see, this chaos relative to the foreign policy and everything. But I think it was done by him. I think it's Marco who deliberately shared the information that this plan originates from Russia to senators. Yeah, later on he said, no, it's our plan, but the information already went to the press. It is already out there, and now it was leaked somehow. The direct call between Witkoff and Dmitriev and Ushakov to Bloomberg. They published it. As you understand, Bloomberg only could have obtained this information from intelligence services. Who would have the access to the phone of Witkoff? Of course, intelligence. For Russians, it's not profitable to leak it at all. They leaked the plan, yes, but the phone call? No, it's the United States. Someone is really tired of this idiot Witkoff. And Donny may call it a fake news or something like that, but no. It is not fake, and everyone understands that. So Donny will have to backtrack from the deal, I would say, entirely, if he's not stupid. But we know that he's stupid, so if he still believes his friend Witkoff, advisor, friend, pal, Donny will just continue to dig himself down deeper and deeper. For Ukraine, at the same time, the policy is very simple. Continue negotiations and state that our not demands even, our interest is not to give territory voluntarily to the Russian aggressor, and all of the sovereign things should be maintained. Even the army. Today there was the information from the Financial Times published that Ukraine agreed on lowering the army to 800,000 soldiers, but it's basically a violation of the sovereign right of the country, which contradicts international norms. So even if Ukraine signs that, it may always say that it was done under pressure. We are at war. They threaten us to withdraw the military help, intelligence support. So we had to sign it, but since Donny left the White House, this treaty is no longer valid. Something like that is possible anyways, but Ukraine should not agree on those demands which compromise and undermine Ukrainian defense capabilities and sovereignty of the country. And Ukraine is actually a victim. Those army regulations, restrictions are applied to aggressor country usually, and the country which has been defeated, like for example Germany in the First World War. As far as I remember, the army restrictions was 100,000 soldiers or something like that. Yeah, Yuri Ushakov, still Witkoff, all the conversation is available now on X or Twitter. You may check it out yourself. Even if you're not subscribed for Bloomberg, the screenshots are already there. And this part is the conversation between Steve Witkoff and Yuri Ushakov, where he states that it's better to call Donny and say that they want peace, because let me tell you what I've told to President. I told President that the Russian Federation has always wanted a peace deal. That's my belief. I told the President I believe that. What are we speaking about here, guys? He's a poor traitor, rat in the White House, in management of the United States of America. He should be jailed, prosecuted, and I think, according to American law, even flatlined. But Donny, he will never do it because it's his close friend. Yeah, he may just attack some people from, like, those liberals, Democrats. Yeah. Yeah, for my understanding, it's better to read it in Russian. I don't have the English version. I am sorry it was published just like that, but you may find it in internet, I guess, in English already. So from what I understood, guys, that Ushakov was very cold to any sort of the deals. It was Witkoff who was insisting on some sort of the plan, negotiations, but Ushakov in his responses, it was like, okay, yeah, okay, we might do it, yeah, we'll see. So Witkoff was speaking a lot, but Ushakov was not interested in this conversation. It is already evident. It means that Russia sees those conversations as background for them just to continue the war, in parallel, fight and negotiate about nothing burger. From that script, it's 100%. Witkoff wanted to give up Ukrainian Donbass and, to make the deal with Russia, the deal business as usual. But Ushakov was not really interested. Wow, that's fantastic that they published it. And guys, American intelligence leaked this conversation to press few hours after Donny posted this, where he stated that he directed the special envoy Steve Witkoff to meet with President Putin in Moscow. Yeah, once again. At the same time, Secretary of Army Driscoll will meet with the Ukrainians, but Driscoll is some sort of the new ambassador instead of Kellogg or what. Trump also mentioned that he will meet with Putin and Zelensky. Yeah, Zelensky and Putin. Only then the deal to end this war is final. Yeah, of course. The deal is not final and will never be, Donny. And what should he do now with his statement about Steve Witkoff? Now he looks like an idiot because he basically sends the Russian agent to Moscow once again. We are at the same circle. My God. All of that tells that Donald Trump is in lack of any sort of delivers, any sort of acting against or on Putin to stop this war, or on Ukraine. He is also actually in lack of the levers. He is like this idiot shouting there in the caps lock, sometimes in a caps lock as here, telling that he stopped how many? 8 wars. But he's an idiot. And with Donald Trump, no peace deal is possible, guys. Believe me. All of those negotiations, calls, they're made just for Donny's attention. For example, Ukraine wants Donald Trump not to finish the military support. Well, now it's not a direct one via Pearl, where European allies are purchasing, for example, Patriot air defense missiles for Patriot systems. So Ukraine needs that, of course. That's why Zelensky is so concerned. But in general, even without Patriot missiles, Ukraine should not surrender its sovereignty. So as I told in my previous videos, you put on the scale, one, you have your country, which you should not give up. And on the other hand, quite limited military support. Yeah, of course, Ukraine will choose its sovereignty and not a defeat, let's say. It is nonsense, basically, because if you sign this agreement, there will be no military support from United States in any case. So if you don't sign, no military support, okay. So what are we talking about? They're also saying about the 5th article-like style guarantees for Ukraine. What, even if you take original 5th article of NATO statute, it's not the obligation for any sort of the NATO ally to deploy its army to some of the NATO state if it's been attacked. They're just telling about some sort of the support. It could be military help, it could be boots on the ground, and it could be an encouraging tweet. It's basically very similar to Budapest Memorandum. If you do not believe me, just open the 5th article of NATO and read it carefully with attention, and you'll understand what I'm speaking about. The Article 5 is only valid if everyone politically agrees to deploy boots on the ground, as it was during the Cold War. Then definitely it was evident that the United States will deploy its forces to Europe. Now it is opposite. United States will not deploy its forces to Europe. And yeah, I'm still shocked about how stupid really United States administration is. Yeah, we have all this conversation. You might find I will not put attention because it's crazy. And I'm fascinated actually about United States intelligence. Actually, from what I understood now, they listened to the conversation between Dmitriev and Ushakov. At first, I I misunderstood that it was the conversation between Witkoff, Ushakov, and Dmitriev, so they had possibly the access to the file because Witkoff called. But no, it was direct conversation between Ushakov and Dmitriev. Guys, it's the very, very high level to get this access to the conversation between direct Putin's advisors. That really tells about the level of the United States intelligence. And yeah, they have clowns in management. I mean, not intelligence, but in general, White House administration. But people work there. Yeah, those agents, they're direct managers, directors, they work. Not the Tulsi Gabbard, of course, but usual people, they have their own game, yeah, behind the curtains. And with those files, those are not still not the Epstein files, but it is something really big. And it's gonna bring one more scandal. Around Trump, he will lose his rating. Now the only chance for Donny to save his remains of reputation in the eyes of MAGA is basically to dismiss Witkoff totally from any sort of the deals around Ukraine or around anything. Witkoff should go back playing golf and, sell some property. He fucked up so much every day, guys. Then I thought, okay, it's over. The peace deal cringe has no way to go lower, but administration hits the new bottom day by day. So many details are out there. Oh, with direct treason. It's crazy. And Witkoff himself is stupid. He received this plan in Russian. He translated it via Google. Google Translate, it was confirmed by Guardian. And then Witkoff presented this plan to Trump, and Trump, one more stupid person, he agreed and started to push Ukraine. Wow. Oh, this is dark. And Dmitriev is already panicking because he fucked up a lot. The closer we get to peace, the more desperate warmongers become. Yeah, Dmitriev. I'm gonna post this one for him. You just fucked up with your stupid plan and clown Witkoff. Well done. Stay away from the windows. Guys, if it goes like that, with the present pace and with the current White House team, Donny will get impeached, or at least there will be attempt for impeachment, especially after majority of the Congress will be taken by Democrats. It is vivid. In 2026, Donny will be screwed. Well, maybe he will stay in power, but it will not be easy walk for him. They're digging themselves down, and it's very good for Ukraine, actually. All right, now what will happen? Russia will not accept the corrected 28-point plan, or they will propose their own plan that returns those original plan of 28 points that was proposed by Russia, and we're gonna run those circles, yeah? The definition of insanity, to do the same stuff again and again, expecting different result. Yeah, that's the insanity. You know, guys, what I want to say, that if you want idiot to fail, don't do anything. Let this idiot to do the job for you. Just wait, and it will happen. And saying so, guys, please support me on Patreon or on membership of this channel. The Patreon link is in the video description right below. The membership, you may just press the button join over here. By doing so, you make this content and my job possible. Thank you so much for it. If you don't have this opportunity, you may subscribe for the channel, like this video, and later on subscribe for the channel. And also to propel this video in YouTube algorithms. Thank you so much for it as well. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.